All right, we are live. What's happening? Ward Wrestling Live here. Third show back doing this. I'm excited. Having so much fun. Again, DM me if you want to come on. I've got a morning slot, which is 7:30 a.m. and I got a late night slot, which is 8:30 p.m. I set that up for the wrestlers after doing this for a while. I kind of noticed that's kind of where it fits in. And then if you call me up and say, yo, I can only do Sunday at 1, I got you. Here we are, right? As long as we're not out wrestling, I'm good. But man, welcome. We got another absolute hammer from the Southeast, from Georgia, from Ola High School. Now he took his talents out to the West Coast and he's doing big things over there at Stanford. He's already qualified for the NCAAs twice. He was a 3-time Georgia State champ, 4-time placer. He placed 3rd as a freshman. He was Super 32 medalist in high school, 6-time freestyle and Greco champ. It's his junior year over there at Stanford. He took 3rd at Reno already this year, 4-2 at the Scuffle, which was real deep at his weight class, 14-5 for the season. So, yo, man, what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Good, man. Hey, I'm happy to have you back on. I know the first time we did this, it wasn't happy times. It was we were fighting to get your school to keep wrestling and not get rid of it. So I'm glad we're in a better space right now. But how have you been? How was the off season? How is getting back on the mat? And man, how awesome was the Scuffle? I know you're a kid that grew up going to it, and now you get to wrestle and compete in it. How awesome is that?
Yeah, it's been great. Like I kind of took a bit of a break this summer because of our whole team being cut thing. I didn't have my training set up how I would have liked, but it was so good to get back on the mat with new coaches. Are like just the whole team being really happy to be here after what happened last year. It was a great feeling. And then the Scuffle is like one of the most fun tournaments I think that gets put on each year. It's as close as it gets to NCAAs. It's one of the hardest tournaments in the country by far, and it's fun to go compete at it.
Yeah, and obviously we were bit a little bit still by the COVID bug this year. We had a lot of really talented kids that kind of had to back out at the last minute. But with that being said, it was still awesome. It was still deep. It was my first time getting to experience anything like that. It was a blast, man. You guys is that the one tournament you guys really look forward to every year?
I know for me personally, it definitely is just because I get to go. It's so close to home. It's about 2 hours from where I grew up. I get to see all my friends and coaches from high school because most of them make the trip up there to watch. It's nice. It feels like being at a high school tournament again where I know half the people in the stands, which is just a cool feeling. It's nice to have fans at a wrestling tournament. You don't get that too often.
Yeah, I wanted to meet your dad in person. I didn't get up into the stadium too much. He's messaging me asking me where to watch the show. I just messaged him, told him we're live on my Facebook page. Let me text him. Yeah, a lot of you guys there was a few, not just from your team, but you saw a lot of Georgia kids in the room. That was pretty cool, seeing the Southeast really show up.
Yeah, it's real cool getting to see because a lot of Georgia guys teams end up going there just for whatever reason, and a couple guys went unattached. So it's neat to see kids I grew up wrestling around in high school and traveling to Fargo and national tournaments with. It's neat to see them all in the same room with me at the college level.
And then some Georgia hammers that are currently in high school. I remember walking in, I heard Ward, and I'm looking around, who the hell's calling my name? And I look up and there's Big Mama hanging over the rail. He's like, yo, for those that don't know, that's Chase Horn.
Yeah.
But and he's yelling, what's up? And I had just seen him at the knockout. And then I saw posts from like kids like Craps and stuff like that, who I think were in the room as well. Uh, so yeah, your state definitely showed up. What's that trip like? The time change and everything for you? Are you already used to it, or do you guys come
Um,
a day or two early to kind of set that all up?
yeah, so actually we were out there a whole week early. Um, we so like everybody flew into Atlanta, which was perfect for me. I got a little bit of extra time with my family. Then we drove up to Chattanooga on like the 27th, and we were there training for 4 days. And I had been on the East Coast already a week before that for Christmas, so luckily I didn't have to deal with the time change too much this year.
You
I
could have
know,
just stayed home and waited for them to come, right?
yeah, right. I know. Normally, travel like wrestling on the East Coast is not the best or not the most fun because 3 hours is a pretty big time change. Waking up for like an 8 o'clock weigh-in is like a 5 a.m. weigh-in for us.
And getting over there trying to get used to it.
Yeah,
Well, you grew up in Georgia. You went to Ola High School right now, Southeast Wrestle, Jason Fulmore. He's got them number 4 in the state. I think they just, you may know better than me, but I think they just won their region again in the duels.
oh,
I think I was reading that. If I'm wrong, correct me, someone.
awesome.
But what what was it like at Ola? What has that high school meant to you? The coaches, the program.
Yeah, I think I got there right, like as we were turning a corner. Um, I think my sophomore year team was our first team to really make a run at placing at state, and then my junior year making the state finals as a team was pretty awesome to be a part of that. It's cool to see a team that went from my freshman year we didn't even qualify for state, like we were mediocre, like not that great or nothing real special as a team. And then like watching like all the guys like leadership from like me and like a lot of other guys on our team really stepping up, um, and bring like helping to raise the level of our team to a point where we're competing for state championships and like expected to be on the podium. I think that was cool to be a
And
part.
was wrestling something you just did since you were little, or did you find it in middle school?
Yeah, no, I wrestled as long as I can remember. I think I started in kindergarten. So at the Junior Wolverines, which is our rival high school youth club at the time at Union Grove, where like Justin Ruffin went. Uh, but I started his Justin Ruffin's dad was the club coach, and started over there, and then moved to the compound, still right in McDonough, and was just been doing it my whole life.
It's cool. Was it something like your dad did? You had family in it, or?
My dad wrestled in high school for a little bit, but he wasn't like super big into it. And I think he just had some friends who had some kids wrestling at the Union Grove Club, and he asked me if I wanted to wrestle one day. I said sure, and
Heck yeah, right?
been
Man,
doing it. So.
so yeah, so you fast forward, right? I mean, shoot, 3-time state champ, 4-time state placer, not a bad run for you in Georgia. And so one of your dreams was to go out and wrestle at Stanford, right?
Yeah, I mean, my goal always like in high school especially, I wasn't super good on the national scene until really my senior year. Like I didn't all American at Super League 2 till after I'd already committed to Stanford.
Oh wow.
So I my goal was to use wrestling to get me into a school that I couldn't get into academically.
Nice.
Um, so I was talking to the Ivy Leagues like Princeton and Cornell and Columbia, and just one day out of the blue, I got a call from the Stanford coach. I kind of barely even knew Stanford had wrestling. It's a little far from Georgia,
Yeah.
and I started talking. I came out on an unofficial visit and instantly fell in love with the place. Like it, as soon as I came out here, I realized like I couldn't imagine myself going anywhere else if I had the opportunity to be here. And luckily it worked out. I get to live here.
To branch off of that real quick, I've got a question. So you reached out to Ivy League schools or highly academic schools to go to college, and you knew they had a wrestling program. So was it more like, hey, I want to try and get into your school. I know you have a wrestling program. Can I do both? Or was it a conversation you already had with the coaches? They would be interested in having you. And then it would be, let me go take those SATs, ACTs, go through the process to get in. Or were you
Yeah.
kind of scouting them?
So I guess it was like I was definitely being recruited as an athlete. Like I had good grades and pretty high test scores. Um, so but like to get into schools like this in like Cornell or Princeton or Columbia, it's a lottery. Like it's almost impossible. They turn down kids with 36 and 1600s on the ACT and SAT.
So you really got to reach out and be an athlete. So you can,
Right. Yeah. So like
I'm asking because I have a son that he's not at the level you were in high school, but academically he's got a 4.7 GPA, and we're about to start going through that process. So I'm trying to see,
yeah, so definitely like I don't know like everything about how it works. If you want to talk to my dad about that, he's an expert. But so like the way the Ivy Leagues work is like they like give you a score based on your GPA and test score, and like they have to have their recruiting class meet an average score.
all right.
So the better your grades are, having like you can be a little worse at wrestling and have really good grades.
Have better
Don't
grades.
want you just as bad as that Super 32 champ.
We won't go off on a tangent. Nobody wants to hear about my
Yeah.
kid. But so you get out to Stanford, you get accepted. It's your dream. You're there. You're having a great time. You go through your freshman and sophomore year.
Just my freshman year.
It's your freshman. Oh man, it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
It's been that long. So you go through your freshman year. So COVID hits, and next thing you know, they're cutting the program. Your dad is screaming from any mountaintop he can
Oh
scream
yeah.
from. We do a show here with you and all your buddies on it. I'd have to go back and see everybody that was on it. Real like was in tears on the show. Like just he's a kid from out there that was his dream, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it hit home. So at that point, they cut the program. I mean, what's going through your mind there?
Yeah, like that was a real like it was a weird time just because I was going through like the transition. It was weird because they gave us another season and we're still cutting our program. So it wasn't like I just like instantly wasn't a wrestler anymore. It was like I gotta do one, like I just like skipped 2 years. It was just in my senior season right away. And it
That's
was
kind of weird. They were like, all right, we're cutting it, but you can wrestle one more year and then we're done.
yeah, they were like, come back to campus, deal with all our COVID crap, and get get tested 9 times a week, and be like locked up the rest of the time, and then they'll cut your team. But yeah, no, it was definitely like a very weird vibe on the team. Like half our guys are transferring, half of us aren't. I think I love Stanford. I wasn't going to transfer. I was definitely going to finish on my degree here, and then maybe see about grad school, going somewhere else.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think that was a common theme between a lot of you and your teammates, right? Was okay, we love wrestling. Wrestling was our vehicle to get here. We still want to wrestle in the future, but for now, we're going to settle in, get our degree from Stanford, still have some eligibility left once you get your degree to then maybe for grad school going down the road and getting a couple of years in, right?
yeah, exactly. I think the general consensus among like both the athletes and the regular student body here is that like our administration could use some work. But Stanford is definitely like an incredibly special place, regardless of how interesting the choices our administrators make.
Yeah, and obviously a degree from Stanford uh, put you to the front of the line in a lot of career moves.
Yeah, yeah, no, and it's just like that's something that's a lot more valuable, I think, than as much as I love wrestling. I think that's a little bit more
Yeah,
important.
so I'd imagine once you hear it, you take a week off and you just cry in the bedroom or whatever it is you do, and then you kind of get back on your feet and you go, okay, this sucks, but I got to move on, right? And
Right.
so we're going through this whole thing. You've got a fantastic coach, and the Borelli family is unbelievable. But Borelli's one of the guys who's screaming from the mountaintop, and he's aggressively going after administrators to get them to do the right thing. And I think the right thing happened, right? You
Yeah.
got,
Yeah,
you know,
eventually.
first of all, when you guys got, I mean, talk about that. You get the call and it's back on. Oh, was
Yeah.
it? It's almost like my
It-
my my wife told my kids they'd never have a dog, and they got a puppy this year, and they're
Right.
still down there going, "Is am I dreaming? Like, did she really give me a puppy? Was it kind of like that?"
Yeah, it's a great analogy actually. I remember like so like the way they had a dorm set up last year, it was all they had all the athletes kind of in this one corner of campus like to help us isolate a little bit better. So one of the other teams that was cut was in our building, was the field hockey team. And I remember like it was like 8:30 one morning. I was asleep, and like I heard all these girls like screaming outside. And I was like, God, I was like, I looked at my phone. I was like, shut up. Like, it's
Yeah.
8:30. And I heard, and then like that went on for like a couple minutes, and I heard like a couple of my teammates start screaming. I was like, what? What's going on? And I walked outside, and they reinstated all the teams. I was like, no way. And like just the energy like that whole day from like because like all the athletes like we all lived in this one little like block, so just everybody like the teams who were cut and the other teams were just all so pumped for like
Did
that.
you like call your dad? Were you like, "Hey, is this real?"
Yeah, we were like everybody's like what the hell, like I was all bummed because I'd been planning on doing like a lot of schoolwork that day and I didn't get anything done. Just
Yeah, so
not.
happy. I mean, what was the emotion like amount around the wrestling athletes?
Oh, we were just all so happy. Like it's so nice. Like part of what was the worst part about us being cut is that like some of us were gonna transfer and some of us weren't. So like that was gonna be our last year with like our closest friends, right? So like Jaden and Real and like some of these guys leaving, like that hurts a lot. And then like finding out that they're not gonna have to leave is just like such a great thing, right? Like it sucks having to transfer. And
And I got to imagine. And I mean, you guys are wrestling well right now. So, it happens. And obviously, Borelli moves on to American, right? And I think you guys love him. He loves you, but he had to aggressively do some things to get the administration to put you
yeah,
back on, and probably stay in there would have been a little uncomfortable for him. But he's at American now, and God bless him and his family. Great, great, great people. Now you get, first of all, did he talk to you guys and say, "Hey, man, I got to check out this, whatever"?
yeah, we had been talking like so we didn't get reinstated. I think it was in May or late April. So it was good amount of time after the season was over. So like we're all thinking like like I know for me at least like I was done wrestling. Like I was just a normal student at that point. So that's like 2 months of like not really being an athlete anymore.
You're
Like,
like, "No weight cutting, hamburgers and
yeah, right.
fries."
There's definitely some benefits in there, but yeah. So like we've been talking with our coaches. Like they were saying like they're gonna keep fighting for us, but they gotta like plan like they gotta have like parallel planning going on like to make sure their own lives are taken care of.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense.
And I know Borelli got that head coaching job, and it sucks. Like it was a week before they ended up reinstating us, but
But
um,
he had to do what he had to do. But I
yeah,
mean, in turn, you guys get another legendary coach in Rob Cole. He comes from Cornell. He leaves Cornell in great hands with Mike Gray, and he comes over there. I think he probably took the job so he didn't have to change his wardrobe, and he can just keep red and white and kind of transfer
Oh
over.
yeah, yeah. I think the weather's a lot nicer here than it is at Cornell.
Yeah. So you get Rob Cole. I mean, look, the wrestling world knows what he's meant to wrestling and who he is and what he's doing. And I got to meet him for the first time this weekend. Enoch introduced me to him. We only spoke for, I don't know, 38 seconds maybe, but
Yeah.
I got to meet him. But what's the transition been like from Borelli to Cole?
Honestly, like I think everybody's very, very happy with it. The culture on the team has shifted a little bit, but I think like having Chenzo and Cole as our leaders, like they definitely have a very different coaching style than our last staff. But I think for a lot of us, I think it's a better fit.
Nice.
And I think that like I think in the next few years our team's gonna be doing some special stuff.
Yeah, and I was going to say, you added Vincenzo Joseph, you added Enoch Francois, both were tremendous athletes, could still get on the mat and probably tear some stuff up right now. Um, what's it been like having those two guys in the room?
Yeah, them and Grant Leith too, our volunteer assistant, and it's just been awesome. Like Vincenzo is so good at wrestling. He's a great technician, and like what I think, especially in college, even more important than the technique. Because if we got here, like most guys know their stuff, but they're really good at teaching us like the stuff besides technique, like reattacking and like a lot of the stuff that's harder to learn. I think it's very easy to learn from a guy like Chenzo just because he's so good, and like he has so much ethos that like like if he says something, like obviously it's gonna work. He's a two-time national champ.
Right, yeah, it works out well for you. And what does Enoch bring to the room?
Yeah, Enoch is great. He's really good. I don't work with him too much because I'm a 133. He's a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
But he's in there practicing pretty much every day with our heavier weights, like our 97, 84s and heavyweight. And I know he's a great he's real good for getting those guys tougher, beating them up a little bit. And like he just brings such a great energy. He's a like crazy energetic guy.
he's a fun guy, man.
Yeah.
He did a great job here in Florida, up in the villages. He was helping build a program up there, and I know he loves those kids. I'm sure he'll still come back and do some camps and stuff. Um, through all this, your dad, man, from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs, how's he doing now, man? How's he taking all this? How happy is he that this is all behind you?
Yeah, I mean I think he's at least as happy as I am, if not happier. He didn't have to start cutting weight again when they reinstated us. But I think like for him, I know like I remember in high school, like him telling me like there was never any pressure from him for me to wrestle in college. And like if anything, like he was more than okay with me not wrestling just because he knows the lifestyle is different than like a typical college experience. But I think like that regardless, like he loves watching me wrestle, and I think getting to have another at least this year, and we'll see about next year, depending on lineups and stuff. But like just the more time he gets to have to watch me wrestle, I think that's what he really cares about, and he loves that.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, and you saw him on every platform, anywhere
Yeah.
he could get his voice heard,
Yeah.
any letter he could write, any post he could place in whatever strategic
Yeah,
attack he
he
could.
was definitely more like he was much more into like put a lot more effort into saving our program than like a lot of people, including myself, and like a lot of the wrestlers. And I think he definitely had a lot more faith than.
Yeah, and I think what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. I think, nothing against any other programs, but there were programs that were cut for real reasons.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and we don't have to get into those real reasons, but it's yeah, you affected the kids, but it's almost hard to argue the reasons, right? But with you guys, it was just strictly like,
It,
I don't
it was just a dumb, like a very like I don't know why our athletic director is still here, but
yeah, I mean, there was nothing. There was no stealing. There was no lying. There was no drug doing. There was no kids being caught and doing. There was none of that was going on. It was just,
no, yeah, and like I think that's part of why we had so many people fighting like so hard for us, and like why we were able to eventually get saved. It's just because it was a very like wrong and corrupt thing to have happen.
especially when your boosters come out and say,
There-
we've
there's
collected
much-
enough funding to fund the program for 20 years.
yeah, right. Like,
So
and at
that's
that
crazy.
point, it's just purely them like being stubborn and trying to be like, no, I'm right.
Yeah,
But
put my foot down. But
yeah,
man, so you were supposed to have Cal Baptist tomorrow. The COVID bug hit,
yeah,
canceled. I'm
it's
seeing that around the country. I'm seeing posts where a lot of these tournaments are going that, or duels are getting cut. We're hoping this thing kind of fizzles down a little bit, because you've got about 6 more duels before conferences and NCAAs. Hopefully there's some really good duels in there. So hopefully
yeah,
some of them happen. Um, and then you've got Pac-12s, right? And then God willing, you qualify again and you're off to the NCAAs. But uh, is there any matches you're looking forward to coming up?
yeah, like 133 in the Pac-12s is pretty stout. You got like I think 3 ranked kids, which so like Chance Rich at Cal Baptist, Devon Turner at Oregon State, who got the best of me at Reno. I'm looking forward to a rematch there. And then Mitch McGee, or yeah, or I don't know his first name, but McGee at Arizona State is a stud. So I'm excited. Like I think I'd rather wrestle somebody better than me and lose than like just beat up kids I'm better than. So I'm excited to get in some matches with some really good kids.
Yeah, and you've got, I think the Arizona duel is up in, I mean, it's like 2 weeks away or something, right?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Next weekend we're supposed to have Little Rock. I don't know if that'll pan out because there's some
yeah, you've
COVID
got, let's
issues
see,
still.
you've got yeah, Little Rock, Menlo, then Arizona State.
Yeah.
And then you got Lightning Luke Smith with Cal State Bakersfield. He wrestled for Borelli's dad
Oh, did he really?
at Central Michigan.
I knew like him and Borelli knew each other, but I didn't know.
Yeah, yeah. I think he was a coach. I think he was on the staff there for a while too.
Yeah, that makes
He
sense.
was at your tournament. He had some guys there
At the scuffle.
at a scuffle. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think they had some COVID issues, which is why they didn't bring most of their lineup.
It was crazy because a lot of these people I never met in person, right? This is how I know you, half from your chest up, right? And
Right.
so I'm sitting there eating. Uh, did you get a chance to go upstairs to where they had the hospitality and
I don't think I went in there. I saw like the downstairs hospitality room, but
yeah, so upstairs and you'd see some of the athletes coming up there and the coaches were coming up and I see Luke and I'm thinking, man, I know that guy. I know who that is, right? Because I go, are you Lightning Luke Smith? And he looks, yeah. I'm like, and then it clicked, right? He's like,
yeah.
oh, shoot.
That's one of like the cool things about college tournaments, I think, is like so many of the people there are like sort of celebrities. Like all the coaches and half the wrestlers are all like
And
names.
I hadn't had a haircut in a while, so I don't. My beard was like down to here at the thing, and he's like, "Wow, you really let your beard grow out." So it's like, yeah, but Man, well, I mean, good luck on the rest of your season. I hope you continue to do big things. It was awesome to get to meet you. Um, I only posted the good photos I got of you,
I
not the other
appreciate
one.
it.
Yeah. Who's the assistant coach with the blonde hair?
The blonde hair.
Was it like blonde or brown? The coach you had, he knocked there with you, and then you had
It was probably Grant Leith.
yeah, the one that said, "Send me the photo of that
Oh
match."
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, no, 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 I want the photo. Send it to me.
Yeah,
So he can,
that was
he-
it. Interesting.
yeah, he probably wants to bust your balls, right?
Oh,
Yeah. And I remember Chase Horn was calling that match, and he was
yeah, I know. That'll be a tough
like,
one
just
to
happened.
have to make up for that one the rest of
Yeah,
the
you did. I remember catching your next match, and that's the photo that I put where you had him in
yeah.
like a neck crank or whatever, and you came off the mat to me. You're like, was that better? Much better.
Yeah, it was a little more enjoyable.
Yeah, perfect. All right, man. Well, hey, get on with your Sunday, man. I know it's morning over there. I don't know if I caught you during breakfast time or not, but go do your thing. Hey, the good thing is no wrestling tomorrow, right?
Yeah, yeah, true. I get to eat a little bit today.
Yeah, perfect. Hey, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate you coming on. It's an honor to have you, and good luck with the rest of your season.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.